Okay, so we have been waiting for this maintenance for a while. Hopefully there's some new leaks here, and the heck? A new box? And it's already here. Okay, let's take a look. Okay. Alright. Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all. There's a new box. Let's talk about it. This is called Dragon's Gate. So it's a deck building box, so it's in the game permanently. And the star of the deck box is Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. This card is so powerful that it sees play in modern Dragon Link decks. As a one of, because it can be searched with Black Metal Dragon, but if you're not going to play Black Metal Dragon for various reasons, you can get 3 copies of this for just 7,500 gems, which is insane. Okay. A lot of people wanted Atticus to be added to the game specifically so he could add this card to the game. So now people can stop complaining about Atticus because we have all of his cards at this point. Alright. Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. This is a level 10 Dark Dragon monster with 2,800 attack points and 2,400 defense points. You can special summon this card from your hand by banishing one other dragon monster you control. You can only special summon Red MD once per turn this way. During your main phase, you can special summon one dragon monster from your hand or graveyard except Red MD. You can only use this effect of Red MD once per turn. So, this card allows you to revive a dragon monster every single turn, or special summon one from the hand, which is good for Hieratics, specifically, I guess. This is great. This is a really good card. It's very generic. You can go into basically any dragon deck. I think that you're not going to be able to play this in Tachyon unless you give up on the skill. But other than that, this should go in basically every dragon deck that isn't Battle Chronicle. Actually, if you can search Red MD like consistently enough, you can just give up on skills for Blue Eyes altogether and just play Red MD to summon your Blue Eyes, and then maybe have like a polymerization shell or something like that. Let me check Blue Eyes Dimension. Blue Eyes Dimension has a deck building requirement. Does it stop you from summoning other things? Let's see. I know it stops you from summoning light dragon monsters with levels. Okay, so you can't play Red MD in Dimension or in Battle Chronicle. Unfortunate, but we'll figure it out. Okay. Next up we have so there's a new skill for Hieratics and a new skill for Dragoonity, so people were expecting a Hieratic Dragoonity box at some point. It's cool that it's got all the old cards in there, except for, of course, it does not have the ultra rare from the structure deck. But we'll talk about that. Alright. Hieratic Sky Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis. This is a rank 8 light dragon monster. It requires 2 level 8s. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a card on the field, in your graveyard, or one of your banished cards, as a quick effect, you can attach one material from this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. This is a soft once per turn, so if you have multiple copies of Overlord of Heliopolis out at the same time, you can negate multiple cards. This is, I think it's the only quick effect that Hieratics have besides Seals, and Seals we did not get. So that's fair, I guess, as a good card. You'll need better cards than this, though. This is a good card, of course, but you're going to need more interruption than just this card. On the Dragoonity side, we got Dragoonity Knight, a red bear. This is the last Synchro monster we were missing, I believe. It's level 10. It requires a Dragoonity tuner plus 1 or more non-tuners. When your opponent activates a monster effect, as a quick effect, you can banish 1 Dragoonity monster from your graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do, banish that card. That is a significantly better effect. So you can do it with more than twice, since it banishes from the graveyard instead of detaching materials. It's any monster effect as opposed to just a card that targets, and it banishes the monster without destroying it. All very good. If this card destroys an opponent's monster in battle, after damage calculation, you can banish that monster. Also a very good effect. If this Synchro Summon card and its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can destroy all spells and traps your opponent controls. You can only use each effect once per turn. Okay. The ability to destroy your opponent's spells and traps when this card is destroyed by a card effect is decent. It's not amazing, but it's better than nothing, so that's fine. Then 3 reprints of Sun Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis, Dragoonini Kus, and Hieratic Seal of Convocation. And Hieratic Seal of Convocation is just like a Rhoda for Hieratics, which is pretty good. Alright, other new cards for the SRs. We have Dragoonini Whirlwind. If only your opponent controls a monster, you get special summon 1 Dragoonini Tuner and 1 Winged Beast Dragoonini monster from your deck, but negate their effects. Then if your opponent controls a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, immediately after this effect resolves, you can Synchro Summon 1 Dragon Synchro monster using only Dragoonini monsters you control. For the rest of the turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except for Dragon monsters. You can only activate 1 Dragoonini Whirlwind per turn. I mean, starting your turn by special summoning 2 monsters from your deck and then synchroing them as a card effect is pretty good. Yeah, you could make Lewin, and Lewin is a Dragoonini Tuner monster that's level 6, so that could very easily get you into a Red Bear if you have like a level 4. See, I think that's probably a 3 of easily. It's also limit 3, which is unfortunate, but this is the power level of a limit 3 card, so yeah. I think Dragoonini is going to be pretty good. Hieratic Seal of Creation. This card is not quite as good as Dragoonini Whirlwind, but it is definitely a card Hieratics want. Target 1 Dragon Xyz monster you control. Special summon from your extra deck 1 Hieratic Xyz monster with a different original name by using that target as material. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target 1 Hieratic monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. You can only use 1 Seal of Creation effect per turn, and only once that turn. Okay, so this will let you take any Dragon Xyz monster, like for example Queen Dragoon Jin, and rank it up into a rank 8. That's very solid. It means that you can play more dragons in your deck, more different types of dragons. I think that Seal of Creation is probably the card that you need to justify playing Rockets in Hieratics. And Rockets are very similar to Hieratics. They like to summon monsters from the deck. So do Hieratics. They like to Xyz and Synchro. Hieratics like to Xyz. So this is... Rocket Tracer can utilize Hieratic monsters that were summoned from the deck with 0 attack points by destroying them to get rockets, which can also be beneficial. So I do think, depending on what the skill restrictions are, I do think that you'll probably play rockets in Hieratics. It just depends on how many Hieratic cards we actually need to play. I think that's it for the new cards. Yep. Okay. All the rest of these cards are reprints. Okay. So that's a good start to this discussion. We also have 2 new skills available in the shop that are related to this. Okay, so the first one is called Dragon Piercing Lance. You can only use this skill's second effect once per duel. At the beginning of the duel, add 1 Dragoonini Glow and 1 Dragoonini Obelette to your deck, and 1 Dragoonini Knight Romulus to your extra deck. During this duel, you cannot normal or special summon monsters except for Dragon or Winged Beast monsters with 2400 or less defense, and Dragoonini monsters. Reveal 1 Dragon Ravine or 1 Dragoonini Whirlwind in your hand. Shuffle 1 card from your hand into the deck, then take 1 Dragoonini monster or 1 Dragoonini equipped spell card from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Okay. So, of the Dragoonini cards we are missing 4 Dragoonini cards at this point. And Obelette, Glow, and Romulus are 3 of those cards. So the only card that... So since these cards are being added by the skill, That means the only card that we are missing is Dragunity Remus, which is a very powerful card. It's like Romulus. It lets you search Dragon Ravine. And it's possible that card is going to be like added to the game in the next box. But the other three cards, like so with this skill, as long as you're willing to play this skill, this does put you up to the entirety of the Dragunity archetype, which is awesome. Cannot normal or special summon monsters except for Dragon or Winged Mice monsters with 2400 or less defense and Dragunity monsters. Okay, so you are allowed to play Red MD in this deck then. That's really cool that they're allowing you to play Red MD in this list. Although you should be careful because Dragunity monsters are evenly split between dragons and winged beasts. So you cannot banish a winged beast to summon Red MD, and you cannot revive or special summon from the hand winged beast monsters with Red MD. Reveal one Dragon Ravine or Dragunity Whirlwind to search. Okay, so this means that you definitely want to play 3 copies of Dragunity Whirlwind. Okay, and you get to take a Dragunity monster and add it to your hand. Okay. It's not a +1. It's just a search card, but the 3 cards being added to your deck and extra deck is really good. So you will play the skill. We get 1 copy of Dragunity Glow then. Add 1 level 5 or higher Dragunity monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Target 1 monster card in your spell and trap zone equipped to a Dragunity monster and special summon it in defense position. You can use each effect once per turn. Okay, so Dragunity Glow can be used in the same turn. So you search, and then you special summon a monster in your spell and trap zone as a tuner, which is great. Okay, so this card is fantastic. Is there a way to search it though? Since we only have 1 copy. I'm sure there's a way to search it. Let's see. It's probably one of the synchro monsters. I'm looking at all the rare cards and I don't see a way to add it. There's gotta be a card that searches Dragunity cards. I'm sure of it, but I don't see it. Oh wait, does Dragon's Ravine search like Dragunity cards? No, only monsters. How are you getting this glow? They wouldn't. And the skill only adds Dragunity card monsters as well. There's gotta be a card. There's too many of these cards there that don't do anything. Dragunities have a continuous spell? That's funny. Scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Alright, there is almost certainly a card that can search these, but I just don't see it. Alright, regardless. Next up we have Dragunity Obelette. Oh, it's a counter trap. That's awesome. When your opponent activates a spell or trap card while you control a Dragunity synchro monster, negate the activation. If you do, banish the card. Then you can have 1 level 10 Dragunity monster. If you have a level 10 Dragunity monster, you can have 1 Dragunity monster you control, gain 100 attack for each card currently banished. Nice. Okay. Yeah, that's also really, really good, and it's also weird that we can't search this since there's only 1 of it. How are we getting this? There has to be a card. Okay, whatever. So, yeah. So, obviously, your end board is going to be a red bear plus Obelette, and then you just, like, have a monster negate and a spell and trap negate, and you win the game. And then Romulus, It requires 2 dragons or wing beasts, and if this card is link summoned, you can add a Dragoonies. Oh! Romulus does it! There we go! If this card is link summoned, you can add 1 Dragoonies spell or trap or 1 Dragon Ravine from your deck to your hand. Okay. Alright, I have only ever seen Romulus search Dragon Ravine. I did not know it could also search Dragoonies spells and traps. Okay. Alright. Thunder Marisol can stop mentally screaming at me at this point. Okay. If a dragon monster is special summoned from the extra deck to a zone this card points to, you can special summon 1 dragon or wing beast monster from your hand in defense position, but for the rest of the turn, its effects, if any, are negated, and it cannot be used as link material. That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, so I guess the combo that they're expecting us to play involves summoning Romulus and then synchroing into a red bear and then setting Opalette. I mean, that's a pretty good, combo. So yeah, I think this will be a great option. Let's see. Okay. All right, and now we can talk about Hieratics. I'm sorry that took so long. Hieratic Dragon Dawn. You can only use the skill's second effect once per turn and the third effect once per duel. You cannot normal or special summon monsters except for hieratic monsters and level 5 or higher rank dragon monsters. Ah! So we can't play rockets. Maybe the skill won't be that good. Maybe we can just play the deck without the skill. Reveal 1 hieratic Seal of Convocation or 1 hieratic Seal of Creation in your hand. Shuffle 1 card from your hand to the deck, then add 1 hieratic spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. If you already have Convocation or Creation, why do you need to search a hieratic spell or trap? Let me see. Oh, it adds Seal of Reflection, which is a counter trap. When a spell card, trap card, or monster effect is activated, tribute 1 hieratic monster, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. Fair enough. If you control a card in your extra monster zone, or if your opponent controls a card, send 1 card from your hand or field to the graveyard, then set 1 hieratic spell or trap card from your deck. Okay. So you can both search and also set. Okay, let's see. So I guess you might also take Hieratic Seal of Banishment, which is tribute 1 hieratic monster to target 1 card your opponent controls and banish that target. That does give you a lot of interaction. 2 different tributes to negate and destroy and banish 2 different cards. Yeah, okay. Maybe you don't need rockets if you have that good of an effect. Cool. All right. In addition to what I've already talked about, they've expanded the box chips to go up to Dark Dimensions. So if you want Necro Valley, you can buy Necro Valley with box chips now, along with Alistair the Invoker and a few other goodies. So this is great for free-to-play players. My name is Serafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.